Hey everybody, welcome back to The Turnout. I am your host, Eloy. Don't forget to hit like, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell notification so you always know when we put out a new video. And we're hoping to be putting out a lot more videos going forward. So the first challenge in that movie challenge thing that I was talking about during the first live stream of 2022 was to talk about a movie that starts with the first letter of your name. And now that I have watched this movie, I don't know, 3-4 times since it's been streaming on Disney Plus, but I also went and saw it in the theaters. The letter E was pretty easy. My name's Eloy, so I have that letter E. Let's talk about the Eternals. Now, instead of doing a review, because I think this movie was a little divisive. I don't know why. I thought it was a darn good movie. I enjoyed, pretty much every moment of it. Again, I've watched it a lot of times, and I seem to be catching, new things here and there every time. So, if you guys like this video, maybe I'll make another video about the Eternals after this. Who knows? We'll have to see. But what I decided to do was to make a ranking video. I thought that this would be kind of fun because I love the variety of different powers of the Eternals, and I like talking about MCU movies. So, hey, excuse to do that. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into this because there's 10 Eternals. So there's a lot to discuss here. And each of them has some powers in common. So let's just get those out of the way. All of them are immortal, hence the Eternals. All of them also seem to be pretty tough. All right, so not all of them are super strong or anything, but most of them are being thrown through buildings and thrown around and fallen and all kinds of stuff. So they all seem to be on the tough side. So I'm not going to really count toughness in here either, I don't believe. Now, not all of them have super strength or things like that. So that will definitely come into play, and we'll have to figure that out when we get to it. With all of that in mind, let's start off the list. So I went ahead and brought up my handy dandy 1 through 10. My rudimentary Photoshop skills are showing. And honestly, I'm going to go alphabetically, which might mean that we're going to end up having to shuffle these around a little bit here and there. And the reason that I say that is because the very first one that we have on the list is Ajax. Now, Ajax, from the movie, and again, I probably should go ahead and stress that I'm not talking about anything from the comics. I haven't read any of the Eternals comics, but I enjoyed the movie a lot. So first thing we have is Ajax. Now, Ajax has the power to heal, which in all actuality is a pretty powerful ability. She's designed to keep the other ones going. She also has the ability to communicate with Arishem, so that could technically be counted as a secondary power in her favor. However, the fact that if she, passes, then she can give it to somebody else, that means that that's not necessarily her power. That's just another thing that any Eternal can technically have. So that means that her power is healing. Seeing as she's the first one. She's at number 1 right now. But I have a feeling that because her power is kind of just healing, it probably will move down that list as we go. So the second person, again, alphabetically, is Druid. Now, Druid's power, in the grand scheme of their mission, is not that powerful because it doesn't necessarily help them in their fight against deviants. For anybody who hasn't watched the movie, the deviants is what they're designed to fight. However, Druid's ability is to control humanity. He can't actually use his power to control any living thing. He never tried to use it to control the deviants, so he's not necessarily the best person to fight against the deviants. However, the scale that he can actually use his power, and we see it in the movie that he can actually control dozens, he can control hundreds of people at any given time. That makes him very, very powerful. So I would say definitely more powerful than Ajax, if nothing else. So we're going to move Ajax down to 2. And Druid is number 1 now. I also use this picture of him in his robe because I think that just shows you how powerful he is. That literally even in his bathrobe, he just has this air of just like, you can't mess with me. Get out of my face. And it's like you have Ajax there with like all this adornment. So she talks a big game. She looks like she's big, but really, she's not that powerful. And healing is a damn awesome power. But even with that, like healing should be almost in addition to other things, which we'll talk about later. So next we have Gilgamesh. And I chose this picture because I really like this picture of him. Plus, this was during the scene where he's fighting the giant deviant, the Minotaur looking deviant, and like he just goes bam, and he like smacks it down. So when I looked online, a lot of people were like, well, I guess he can super punch and that's his power. I wouldn't necessarily say his ability is to super punch. He is super strong, as well as he has the ability to almost like Iron Fist, like he makes his fist glow and he. So in all of that, he's also he feels like he is even tougher than the other Eternals, which of course I just said I wasn't going to count that, but it does seem like he is tougher than the other Eternals. So honestly, I feel like that will put him in a class above both Ajax and Druid. So right now, it seems like every Eternal that we go through alphabetically is more powerful than the one before it. Let's see if that continues. So now we have Icarus. So Icarus is an interesting case because the movie almost depicts Icarus like he is, quote unquote, the most powerful. We could never beat him. But really, it also showed us that, really, if they all work together, they could beat him up. He is very powerful alone. So he does definitely have the super strength that Gilgamesh has. He has flight, which no other Eternal has naturally, though there are ways around that when we get to some of the other, people. So, but he does have the eye beams. He has the strength. He has the flight. And he has, an intimidating stature. The interesting thing about that, though, is that I think that if he was put head to head with most of the Eternals, he would probably win. But I think that there are certain ones that could beat him. So I don't think that he is like the most powerful, even if that's how we were expected to think of him. So I think for right now, he is going to end up, I think he would be number one, because I feel like he has the strength of Gilgamesh, maybe not the extra toughness of Gilgamesh, but the ability to shoot. And obviously his design was to go after those flying deviants, because there are quite a few different flying deviants in the world because they keep evolving to do different things. So we needed a deviant to go and fight the flying one. So I'm going to put Icarus at number one right now, but I don't anticipate that he will stay there, I guess, is where I'm going with that. So the next one is Kingo. And honestly, Kingo is probably one of my favorites when it comes to the Eternals, mostly for his personality, though, and not necessarily because of his, amazing powers. He is actually kind of limited in his power set because he has finger guns. And we learned that through the movie, like he can do bam, 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 or he can charge it up and do a really big, gladoosh. So he has, finger guns, or he has extra powerful finger guns. But that's it, kind of. And as much as I like him as a character, if we are judging by, sets, he is the ranger. He is the ranged attack person, the glass cannon, if you will, of the group. He basically has the ranged attack of Icarus, but without any of the extra strength and the durability and the flight and all the stuff. So, I mean, and it makes sense too in the movie why he is so kind of enamored with Icarus, because they do the same thing. They shoot things, but he also is like, Icarus can fly and has all the extra bits and he's awesome. So I'm actually going to put him under Druid, though, because Druid's ability is honest. I mean, and mind control is one of those things. Apparently in the comics, Druid is, classically a bad guy. And for me, it was actually a big surprise for the mind control character to not be a bad guy. When I watch almost any other show, anytime that there is a mind control character, I'm like, okay, well, obviously we know who the bad guy is going to be, because that is just so often the case. In this case, though, he is a character who can control minds, who is frustrated that he can't use it to just solve all of the world's issues. So he has a good heart. He is a hero in this case. Which doesn't happen a lot. So good on him. Good on him, definitely. So the next one, so that's 5. That's halfway through. The next one is Mccurry. So Mccurry has super speed. We see how fast she is as well. She is damn fast. One thing that I also noticed about the kind of the animation style of her versus other speedsters that we found is that most of the time, what we see when the person is running super fast is we see the world there and them moving super fast. But with Mccurry, they did an interesting thing where we actually saw her moving normal paced, but the world was moving super fast behind her. And I felt like that was actually a really cool depiction of super speed, because it's not like the world is still and she's moving fast, as she's moving what's normal for her, and the world is flying past her. And I feel like that also kind of shows you the power level that she has. Plus, she is there to catch people, protect people, move them out of the way. Having a super speed character on the team makes 100% sense. I loved her as well in the depiction of her, that she works off of vibrations too. And that's actually something that not everybody talks about, is the fact that she has super speed, but she also can sense everything on a vibrational level. So she can know where anything is. So almost like a super sensory sort of ability as well. So for me, that actually puts her, I would say, higher than Icarus. And we saw too in the movie how much of a threat she was to Icarus. She was going toe to toe with him, to be quite honest, until, again, the movie was trying to make us feel like he was the most powerful. So of course he gets the drop on her. But really, in all actuality, if the movie was consistent, she would have known what he was about to do. She would have known that even before he moved, she would have known that he was moving there and could have gotten out of the way. Same thing with the deviant, with the evolved deviant that was, she was running around, which that seemed really dumb anyway. It was like running around him to create a tornado for what? Who knows? And then he stomps the ground and uses Gilgamesh's stomp the ground ability. But she should have known that it was about to happen, right? Because she would have felt the vibration of him lifting his foot and about to stamp it. So she would have known to jump at that time and to resist it. Anyway, if her powers are used logically, she is really, really powerful and should be at the top of this group at least. So let's see who's next. We have Fastos. And I use this picture. I don't know why it was so hard to find a good picture of Fastos, by the way. We need more pictures of Fastos. This is a low res thing that I was able to clip, but like seriously, we need better pictures of Fastos out there, because representation, he's the black dude. I need more black people in this thing. But anyway, he's awesome. Fastos's power is technology. And you'll notice that I put Tony Stark in I put Tony Stark in the thumbnail of this video, because I feel like everything that Fastos did, Tony Stark was doing. So it almost was like Fastos being like this larger than life, super powerful, like his powers of being super smart. Like that's his power, and being able to build all this tech and stuff. So like he's really dope. And we saw him go, head to head with Icarus and win. There was a lot going for Fastos. The bad thing about Fastos is obviously that he isn't as spontaneously powerful as everyone else. But for him, the sky's the limit. If you give him enough time, then he could pretty much beat anybody, almost like he's Batman almost. So actually, I'm going to end up putting him as number 2 under Mccurry, above Icarus, because we already saw what happens when he fights Fastos. Fastos wins that shit. But I also feel like Mccurry is technically more powerful than he is because she can do it in a split second versus Fastos not being able to do that. He needs time. That's 7 of them so far. I can't really find any disagreements here so far. So now we're going to go to Cersei. So Cersei, beyond the actress being just freaking gorgeous, her power is called transmutation. I don't know if I've talked about it a lot here, but my day job is I design role-playing games, and one of my favorite powers that I've ever written up was transmutation, because, you know, everybody else will go for super strength, super speed, those sorts of things, flight. For me, though, the ability to turn things into other things, that's where the power is. That means you could do anything. Now, the interesting thing about Cersei's character, though, is that she is completely down on herself. She doesn't believe that she's a powerful person. She doesn't have a lot of self-confidence. But if self-confidence was matched with this power, the ability to turn anything into anything, and we see a lot of stuff. She's like, I could turn rocks into this, and I could turn rocks into that. But literally, she can turn anything into anything. She even said, one time I turned a rock into air. And by definition, that technically means that she could turn air into things. So she could not only do what she did in the movie, which was turn things into other things, turn this water bottle that I have right here on my desk into solid gold and make lots of money, turn things into money, turn a brick into money, turn rock into metal, turn a celestial into marble. There's so many things that she can do. And the ability is just to turn things into other things. And honestly, that is one of the more powerful powers. So she immediately, in my book, jumps to number 1. And honestly, I don't think anybody has any powers that will beat her because, oh my gosh, the ability to turn things into other things. You don't even understand. And she was turning dirt in the water. She does a lot of earth things, but that's not where it stops, right? The ability to turn things into other things, even air, means that she could literally conjure anything just by turning air into something that she wants. So crazy power level there if she had the self-confidence to really kind of do that. And that's why I really wanted to do this video of ranking them, not just based on what we've seen them do, but based on what their power set should allow them to do. Like, so literally, she should be able to turn anything into anything. So like if even Icarus was trying to shoot her with his eye beams, she literally could turn his eye beams into like silver and then make it turn into silver into his eyes and then like turn his eyes into like mush, into oatmeal. Like she literally could just defeat anybody at any time if she understood the scope of the power that she held in her hands. And usually transmutation doesn't involve turning air into things. That's crazy, because if she can turn air into things, that means that she could then turn other things like even light and even plasma and things into other things. It's crazy. The power level of transmutation is almost without limit, and it's ridiculous how downplayed that power is. So there's that. So now we have 2 more. The number 9 is Sprite, and Sprite's power is to be the user of illusions, and she uses it pretty good. We also saw her do it on a small scale versus a large scale. So on the small scale, like, just making her seem like she's an adult, or, then scaling up to like making multiple copies of her and Cersei during the movie. But even at the end, she was able to make people invisible. So invisibility is now part of illusions. She was able to create an entirely different landscape at the end of the movie where she was making different volcanoes pop up, so there's a lot that she could do. And it seemed like her range and everything was actually very powerful. So illusions is very powerful, but the problem is that we've already seen so many other characters with illusionary powers, and those come with other abilities, but she really just has illusions. But of course, the question now becomes, is she more powerful than Ajax? Yeah, I'd say so. Is she more powerful than Kingo? I'd say that illusions way more useful than finger guns. Is she more powerful than Druid? Hmm, that's where the conundrum happens here. Because I think that I would probably put her above Gilgamesh, but I don't think I would put her above Druid. So what does that mean? That means that Gilgamesh is now going to move to 7. Druid is going to move to 5, and now we have Sprite here at 6. And because Illusions is awesome, and Illusions is also great because it doesn't. Oh, actually, now I might move her up. Okay, so I'm going to move. So here's the thing. In a white room, these illusions would be more powerful than mind control because it was seen that he couldn't control other Eternals. So fighting out where a volcano's going and it's Eternal versus Eternal, he can't control any of them. And there's no people around for him to control either. So, but the fact that the idea is that he could literally become technically more powerful to control the mind of a celestial means that he might be able to become powerful enough to control his fellow Eternals. But that would require him draining the power of other Eternals. So I would say that he would be less powerful than Sprite because Sprite's illusions are just overall useful in any context, no matter where the terrain is or who's around. So I am going to move him down slightly for that. I moved Gilgamesh slightly as well. That puts Sprite at number 5. And then we are faced with the last character, which is Athena. Athena, awesome warrior. So she has her warrior ability. She can conjure weapons of any shape and size. So that's cool. And that's pretty much it. She didn't seem like she had any additional super strength. She didn't seem like she was extra tough. She just seemed like she was, 1, an amazing warrior, and 2, could conjure any weapon that she wants. The question just becomes again, who does that make her more powerful than? Is she more powerful than Ajax? Yeah, Ajax is a healer. She was designed to heal Athena after, Athena would go out and get her butt kicked. Is she more powerful than Kingo? Well, Kingo might be able to hold his own against her at a distance, but if she closed the distance, then it's over. Is she more powerful than Gilgamesh? Well, I think that the movie kind of solves that for us. And the idea that Gilgamesh was the one to watch Athena over all those years, because if she got kind of crazy, he could put her down. He was better than her. So actually, I'm going to put her at number 8. And this is kind of, I don't see any problem with this this stacking here, this ranking here. Ajax, the weakest, just healing. And again, the celestial communication, but then any Eternal can have that. So she was just a healer and not super strong, not fast. And, she had a great commanding presence, but not necessarily one that was any better than somebody else. Then we have Kingo, finger guns, Athena, special fighting and weapon conjuration, great. Gilgamesh, super tough, super strong, and super punches like Druid, mind control, Sprite, illusions. Icarus, flight and eye beams, and some strength. Fastos, the ability to do almost anything if he has enough time through technology. Mccurry, super speed and basically super sensory abilities. And then Cersei, the ability to conjure anything and turn anything into anything, even living beings by the end of it. So almost overpowered. So it's kind of crazy, but let me know what you think about my ranking of the Eternals based on their power sets. Let me know about all of that down in the comments. Who do you think should have been number 1, number 10? I want to know. Otherwise, don't forget to hit like, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell notification so you always know when the Turnout puts out a new video. This was just number 1 out of my 30 movie challenge thing, so I'll be bringing video number 2 to you very soon. And otherwise, I've been your host, Eloy. This has been the Turnout. Thanks for showing up.